You certainly had some time to adjust in the industry as you spent 10 years working at the publicly traded and multi-billion-dollar healthcare IT company Allscripts. And what was it like working for such a massive company? What were the positive aspects of your experience, and what were some of the pitfalls?
Yeah, interesting question. And for clarity, I probably bring a different perspective to that because as you dig into that 10 years, it technically wasn't just 10 years at Allscripts. I actually came to be at Allscripts through acquisition. So I was with a smaller company. We were then acquired by a medium-sized company and were subsequently then acquired by Allscripts. So I was able to kind of experience the small private sector, the medium private sector experience, and then the, as you say, very large publicly traded healthcare organization. So I got to really over that 10-year period experience all the various pluses and minuses of those different size organizations and what you're able to do. Most of my time was spent on the sales, marketing, the revenue producing size of the organization. So certainly as you grow and you become an Allscripts, one of the nice things is that you're no longer having to introduce who you are because everybody knows who Allscripts is. So brand recognition and all that comes with that is certainly a real nice thing to experience when you're working for a company of that size. You mentioned pitfalls. Certainly you get into the public space and you start to deal a lot with the cycle of the quarterly reporting, and it seems like life centers around the next quarter end and trying to get business wrapped up and make decisions all around the fact that you're having to announce your revenues and your achievements or your misses. So it tends to put you in kind of a crazy quarterly cycle that can be distracting at times, I think, from the bigger picture.
Right. Yeah, and that can certainly be tedious. And there's always drawbacks when working with massive companies. I mean, regardless of the industry they serve, even outside of healthcare IT. But one thing that's interesting is that these large public traded companies have huge budgets toward research and development. So they'll offer products and services that have all of the bells and whistles attached to them. But conversely, like their products are often offered at a premium price because everything's about dividends and appeasing to the shareholders. Their billion-dollar revenues come from huge pools of clients, which is great, but this usually leads to like a poor customer service experience or inauthentic relationships, which is something that you kind of hinted at there in your answer. So what are the benefits of working with smaller, privately owned healthcare IT companies? And with your current venture, Open Practice Solutions, what are your biggest goals when working with new clients?
Yeah, and you definitely covered it. There's certainly the resource pool of that large company. You mentioned the R&D, the spend. You go to a conference and you've got the multi-story massive booth, and that's always an impressive and fun experience, giving out the free lattes. But you know those conference experiences are kind of indicative of the entire experience in that you walk into that 3-acre booth and try to find the person that knows the answer to a specific question, and you could spend the next hour going up and down the stairs trying to figure out who knows the piece of information you need to know. That was kind of my experience as well, moving from small to large. While you may have more resources in theory at your fingertips, trying to make decisions, trying to get things done can be extremely challenging because it's really hard to figure out who's responsible for any given area. There's a lot of finger pointing and a lot of chasing around to get things done. And I think that is ultimately what made this venture at Open Practice Solutions very attractive. When I started here 10 years ago, it was a very small organization, and having gone from small, medium, and large, I was able to live in all of those worlds and
Right.
self-reflect on the fact that what's really fun is being in that nimble, small company environment. Privately held is a bonus on top of that because you're able to take the long view on what it is you want to deliver to your clients. You're not focused on the next quarter. You can focus on the next 5 years, which ultimately is going to be better not only for the company and employees, but certainly for the customers as well, because
Right.
those quarterly decision routines generally don't have a real good long-term impact. So yeah, the nimble, close to the customer aspect of the small company, having the customer not have to go through 20 different layers of bureaucracy to try to get
Right.
a good idea heard by somebody that can actually do something about it, I find really exciting about being where we're at today.